Hey Defenders, it's Mike with Aegis Defense Solutions. I wanted to try something just a little bit different tonight. We're going to talk about the news. Yay, the news. And we're going to really address some comments that people have left in some of our videos, just a couple of our shorts when we were talking about the P320. Yes, we're going to beat that dead horse a little bit more. And a couple of the people asked if I would recant a couple of the stories that we covered, and mainly in connection to the unfortunate death of the young airman at FE Warren Air Force Base. What originally was reported out the gate, and a lot of people jumped on this, certainly were guilty of that, absolutely, was that this was an uncommanded discharge amongst a slew of many that SIG is still having to deal with now, and in fact have lost some court cases on also. And what ended up happening was that another airman was arrested in conjunction with the death of this airman, and and this is all we know now, because this is all the information that's actually come out of that investigation. All they said is that this airman is arrested for involuntary manslaughter, obstruction of justice, and falsifying official documents. So past that, we don't have too many details, and that's still a lot left up in the air. But am I going to recant my stories? No. You know what? We threw them out there. That's fine. Yeah, we got the views and all that. Sure. But I'm not going to stop picking on SIG, mainly because I'm certainly not going to recant comments and me jabbing at SIG and throwing out memes and crap posting against them, because one, SIG with its historical pedigree should be doing a lot better. Also, we, 2A community, should be holding these large companies accountable for the crap that they're doing. Heck, we even just had Glock come out recently talking about that they're supporting legislation on regulation for firearms in the United States. And we'll cover that in a different video. We won't go too much into the weeds on this one. I just want to focus on SIG right now, okay? So why won't I do that? Well, first off, I don't want SIG to fail. I make some cool guns. The P226 is amazing. I've personally always wanted a P220 Equinox. I love that nickel brush finish that they had on that gun. Gorgeous firearm. And it shot amazing as well. The MCX line, I think, is absolutely a stellar rifle. The MPX, their subguns, absolutely just amazing 9mm pistol caliber carbines. Really, they make some cool stuff. But with the P320 and the M18, the M17 series, there's some major issues with this. I'm certainly not the only one that's covered this. You got the bigger channels out there, like Brandon Herrera and a lot of others that are covering this, and they're harping on this as well. Okay. And to those saying otherwise, because we certainly had people jump in like, recant what you said. The SIGs are fine. They don't fire. They're still an issue. These stories are still out there. Two major ones. SIG this year alone lost two major court cases. Here, what's one of them? Here we got Robert Lang shot in the thigh. Foundings. A jury found the pistol defective and Sig Sauer negligent for failure to warn customers about the risk of unintentional discharge. Awarded Lang $2.35 million in damages, and this is the first time the jury found SIG liable for the P320. What they defended against him from was saying that it was due to Lang's own negligence that the gun went off and not a design flaw. Before that, actually, in November 2024, Philadelphia jury awarded $11 million to U.S. Army veteran George Abrams. The verdict, 3-week trial, jury awarded him $11 million. This includes $1 million in compensatory damages and $10 million punitive damages, reflecting the jury's view that Sig Sauer's conduct was reckless. Okay, while Sig Sauer was primarily held liable, the jury also assigned a portion of responsibility to Abram, though, for his handling of the gun. The key arguments: Abrams' lawyers argued that the 320 design lacks external safeties. Sig Sauer said it was arguing the guns could only be fired if the trigger is pulled, and that he had that it was basically inadequate training. Okay, there are tons of different stories with SIG on this, and it's something that's not going away. You know what? And maybe. I'm sure, I've heard it before. Oh, my SIG, I've put thousands of rounds through it, and I believe you, and I believe that it probably won't even go off, and it'll be completely safe. But when you have a quality control issue where you say that there's like 1 or 2 out of 10,000 that have an issue, that's a major safety issue for somebody, especially that has such a large contract with, say with DOD. This is a problem. And it's a problem that is not going away. And SIG needs to address this. It's such a big problem that everyone kind of pigeonholes and forgets that they did a optional upgrade to their trigger system for the problem that doesn't exist. So, bury your head in the sand as much as you will. it is a major issue that's still ongoing. Okay. And this is in addition to major departments across the country dropping the SIG as well. F.E. Warren, right after the death of the airman, they stopped issuing the M18s and everyone was required M4s. I believe, and you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on this one, definitely, that they reissued the M18s and saying that they're fine and they're good to go. ICE dropped it. I believe they're carrying it again, though. But the big ones that are still out there, we got Oklahoma Police City Department, Denver Police Department, Chicago, Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission. That's the Washington State Police Academy. They have tons of these guns sitting on the shelf, in the armory, and they're not being handed out because of these safety issues. Milwaukee Police Department, Dallas Police Department, SEPTA Transit Police in Philadelphia. Like, we can keep going on and on with these things, but there is an obvious issue with this gun. So no, I'm not going to recant my stories. I'm also going to continue to rag on SIG because I want them to succeed. They need to be held accountable for some of these issues. And really what they need to do is just come back with some quality control on this. Fix this gun. Upside is I've been seeing these guns go for pretty cheap. If you're a collector, hey, now's a good time to pick one up, certainly. As my hypothetical, it could end up being the shortest lived military service firearm, finally beating out the M14. And so, hold my beer, M14. Here comes the M18 and the M17. So we'll kind of see what happens from there. Anyways, it's Mike with Aegis Defense Solutions. Remember, stay prepared, not scared. God bless and good night, everybody.